live this week, and appreciate everybody joining in. I know we're going to just kind of sit here and chit chat for a minute as all the Facebook notifications start happening and letting everybody know that we're live, and all the reminders start hitting. But it's going to be a really, really fun and unbelievably informative episode, because we're going to dive into like something near and dear to my heart, and I know our guest as well, it's near and dear to hers, in content, right? And really defining what content means, different ways that we can reuse the content that we're creating, and how we can use that continually, and also different marketing avenues. So really, really super excited to have Brittany Dolloff of Wicked Awesome 3D Photography. You have you win the internet for the best company name.
We try to keep it fun over here.
That's right, Wicked Awesome 3D. And Brittany, really appreciate you taking the time out to come on and chat with us and everyone today.
Absolutely.
And so Brittany and I go back, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 years, something like that.
Yeah, it's been a good amount of time now, huh?
I know, right? We're BFFs, and we've been working together for a long time. And so Brittany was actually the photographer that I used at my old home building company, Royal Oaks Homes, now Mattamy Homes, here in the Raleigh Triangle area, and does an amazing, amazing job and has all kinds of tools at her disposal. And so thought it would be really awesome for her to come on and talk through. So Brittany, welcome to the show. Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about what you guys do, how you do it, and where you do it?
Yeah, thank you, Matt. It's been a lot of fun working with you over the years. So as you said, we get the fun toys of the game, the visual marketing aspect. We cover the gamut from your photography needs, video, and Matterport tours, which we're going to go into a lot of detail about today, especially now that people are shopping from home.
That's right.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. We work with drones. We do aerial photography as well. Really everything to capture a home, and from every aspect, where you can have one contractor out and take care of everything in one go.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that because these things have, and we're going to actually, we're not going to just talk about this stuff today. We're actually going to show some examples of what you can do, some things that Brittany's done for clients in the Raleigh area, and things that you can walk away from and go, all right, I literally go do these things right now. If I had this content already existing, I can go make these changes and adjustments right now, or I know what I need to do when I need to go create this content. So, why don't we first, because you're obviously a photographer as well, I think you've got an unbelievable eye for it. But what's really interesting, I think it's worth noting, especially at first, is the difference between a real estate photographer and just a photographer that goes and takes great family portraits and those kind of things, right? Because they are different and they have different specialties. Right, so why don't we talk a little bit about maybe what that difference is and why it matters?
Well, I always like to start this conversation with, I'm also not the best person at family photography. I recognize the differences because I know my strengths and weaknesses. There are photographers out there who can make a crying baby look absolutely adorable and smile in about 10 seconds. That's not my specialty. However, I do happen to come from a real estate background. I actually started as a realtor in Boston, and that's kind of how I put the two passions together, weave them together. So by understanding the real estate market, what you all need and how we can do a good job, that's really helped me put that into the business. And that's including everything from the angles that you want to show, how to make a room look larger, how to get every corner of that room lighted, because that's really key too. No one likes a dark and dingy room or house. Lighting, I would say, is a big aspect of it. And then having the right equipment to go along with it. And finally, I think one of the biggest differences is understanding the timeline. If you shoot a wedding, you could have a month to edit the photos. You could go through, do detail. As we know in real estate, if you're waiting a month for photos, you have a problem. You
Big
know, you've
problem.
been beat to the market, you are behind the 8 ball. So we have a process in place to be able to go out there, get the shots taken in a reasonable amount of time and return them to you very, very quickly so you can get going.
Yeah, absolutely. It was interesting how I actually came across you. You hadn't been in the Raleigh market too long, and I was on the hunt for Matterport. And I actually considered buying a Matterport camera myself, right? And I was like, I'm just gonna. This thing looks really cool. I want to do it, and it's like 40 at the time. I think it was like $4,500 or something like that to buy the camera. And I was like, I'm going to look at just buying one of these things and do my own homes. And then I came across your company, and you came out, and I literally watched you guys do it. And then the time that it took to stitch it all together later, I was like, there is no way I have the time to do that, which is why you have a company that does this. This is what you do. And, you know, this was one of those, like, I thought I was going to be, you know, if I was going to do it myself, I was going to be jumping over 20s to pick up singles, right? I was going to be costing myself money trying to do this myself, thinking I was going to save money in the long run. And so, yeah, it's huge. And to get a company that specializes in this, and like you said, like, you don't have the skill set to try to make babies. I'm sure you can make babies smile, but like for photos, you know, in the family settings or whatever, and just like they don't have the same eye and the same skill set to come in and get the right angles from a photography perspective, understand from a real estate background what it is that you need to capture, like what it is that the user wants to see, what it is that the builder wants to see, not just here's the kitchen or here's the corner of an empty bedroom. Like how you make that come to life and matters. So really making sure that you find the right partner is unbelievably important for this. So yeah, anyway.
Yeah, it's all details. So
oh my gosh, it's all details. So let's start with let's start basic and then we'll build up. So we talk about Matterport. If someone's not familiar with it, let's take just a second. Why don't you explain what it is and how it works?
All right. Well, and Matt, I don't know if I mentioned this to you earlier, but I did pull it out just to have it ready.
There it is.
Basics. I figured everyone loves to see it. This is, without the tripod, the Matterport camera.
Right.
There we go, that way. It's got about 9 lenses here built in. So you can see 3 at the bottom, 3 in the middle, and 3 at the top, and lasers as well. So while it's moving, it's actually taking, fancy lasers. It's taking so many pictures of the upward direction going down. So that's what creates that 3D perspective. So you can look down while you're in the tour, see the flooring, look up, check out the ceiling, what kind of lighting there is, as well as it's taking measurements and putting that all together. So that way you have, it's scaled properly and we can create floor plans from it. So it's doing that all at once while the camera circulates. We go through the home with the camera and take that, and then we are able to stitch it together to create the tour, as you mentioned. So that's the quick and dirty of
what it is, how it works, right?
Yep.
Now, it's interesting because when it first came out, Matterport was really like indoor only. But now with some of the upgrades, you can actually utilize this and get some outdoor as well, right? Now, can you use this to help also update? I thought I read that if you got outdoor footage of like streetscape, you could take that same file and upload that to like Google Maps for additional like updates for like Google Maps Street View for new communities and things like that. Is that right?
That is correct. So yeah, it's all Google Street View integrated. It's also partnered with VRBO and that sort of thing. But the neat part, like you're mentioning, if you have a sales office that's also your show home, then you can actually integrate that into Google Street View, just like you would walk into any other business, walk right into your staged home.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those of you chiming in, watching, we got a bunch of people jumping in. If you guys have questions or you want us to address something specifically as we're running through this, make sure you drop them in the comments. Sharing is caring. So make sure you hit the like button, the love button, share it out, create a watch party, whatever you want to do. But drop in some comments. Also want to see the people watching drop in. Are you using Matterport now? Is it something that you're looking to add in? So let us know what you're using now and how you might be using it, and we can talk through it as we go. So so we talked about, yes, we can update the outside, being able to even update that street view, because if you've got a brand new neighborhood, Google Maps Street View is old, right? It's going to probably just be dirt. But if we can take that file and upload that into Google Maps and provide some up-to-date information, that's great. And then obviously, like you said, like integrate the sales office and things like that into that outdoor view can really be impactful. So let's talk about, like, you mentioned it comes in and scans. I'm actually going to bring up and do a little screen share here. I'm going to bring up an actual example of a Matterport tour. Let me see if I can get the right, which one is the biggest? Are they all about the same? Close enough. I'm going to put this next to you.
Okay.
All right. So when you come in and you're talking about it scans, right? Just in case people haven't seen this before, you're talking about it scans. It allows us to move up and down and all around, right? And so each one of these little circles that we see on the floor, these are areas where you've gone in and physically, I'm assuming this is where you placed the camera and done an actual scan, right?
Exactly.
So
and that will allow you to walk to that step.
Kirsten's using Matterport 3D Tours for all their finished model homes. I think that's amazing, and you should continue to do that. So each one of these circles is where you can go through and where you actually did a scan and go up and down and scan all around. You can also go in and look at it by dollhouse effect, right? So you can actually see the whole house and the whole floor plan. You're able to go in and see it from a floor plan view by floor itself. So I can go in and go, all right, let me go back to floor one. I can look at it as an overhead shot and then go back to where I was standing before by clicking in, right? So there's all kinds of neat views and ways that you can do this. But it doesn't just stop there, right, Brittany? Like, how are some other ways that you see from a best practice standpoint that you get the most bang for your buck out of this?
So I would say my personal favorite is the Matter tags. So in terms of expanding what you're able to do within this tour, these little gadgets are absolutely endless. And I love this example because if we go maybe a little bit closer to one of those blue tabs, how was the table one? Oh, sorry. Do you see the one on the table? Oh, actually, nope, you got the right one. So this one is the little welcome message.
Yeah, let me go back to it.
From the sales advisors. I don't know if you probably won't be able to hear it, but it's basically a welcome message. Welcome to Anatomy Home. We're here to help you. A very friendly, warm greeting. So it's actually a video built into it. So you're not only walking through this home, but you're pulling up sales and marketing materials while you're in the tour, never once leaving this space, this tab.
And by the way, when I rolled over that, it auto played. Like the buyer, the user didn't have to do anything. It auto played right out of the gate.
Love the autoplay. And then, so, we can see that there's another option there over the table. And I believe that one is a Fuquay Varina. This home's located in Fuquay Varina, North Carolina. So I believe this is an overview of Fuquay Varina and the community. So now they're learning a little bit more about the community, which this home is located in. Again, never having left the tour or getting distracted by, another home builder, as they go through their search. And then finally, and I think it's the far tab in the back of that room, so it might be a little tricky to get over to.
That's all right, over here.
Yeah, but that's actually a link out to say I'm walking through this home. I love it. It says something like, do you love this home? And it links out to ready to buy homes at the moment. So directly links, hey, I'm loving it. Here you go. This is your sales sheet now, and you're back in a Anatomy page. So those are just a couple examples. As I said, integrating video, integrating links. I've loved, and I don't have a great example of this one, but I've seen where an agent, if I'm an agent and I want to literally put a tag through the home, I can walk them through it via these matter tags. Hey, welcome to the kitchen. Check out this feature. We added a high-end dishwasher and a double oven stove. The flooring here is, a level 3 beautiful custom flooring. Covers the covers the sales pitch.
Matt, I think I lost the sound here. Can you hear me? I think we lost a little audio. There we go.
Is that better? Are we back?
I can hear you. I think we're good. Oh, shoot. We might have lost you again.
One sec, guys.
Gotta love technology.
You keep talking.
All right. I will keep talking. All right. So that is, where were we? So we were talking about the matter tags, which are great. And I think what we're going to go into shortly here, and when we can pull up examples, is not only do we have this internal tour, but we can create more content off of this tour, which is incredible. So we have this base tour, which you can just do a walkthrough version. Then we can add matter tags, links, videos within the tours. And now we can actually export the tour into other resources. Are you back with us, Matt?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep, I can. Perfect. All right. Yeah. So we can then create more resources. This is kind of where you were going with this now?
Yes, absolutely. Keep going.
Perfect. All right. So with social media these days, the GIFs are huge. You can actually export a little GIF right out of your launch pad of Matterport in about 10 seconds. It's auto-created. It's about 12 seconds. And it's great for those little social media flashes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I was saying when my random audio cut out there was, even in the sales centers, like as a model home, you think about, especially now as we're selling virtually, what happens is, kind of trying to get people back into what we do from a sales center and a model home perspective. Like when you go in the model, you could have little tags on the walls that call out specific features of, this HVAC system is efficient in this way. Or, like we would have little Alexa tags that talked about say this and make the home interact with you. Or, talk about the energy efficiency of the foam insulation behind the walls or the windows. You can do the same thing in the Matterport tours themselves and utilize this as your digital virtual model home. So it's really got an unbelievable amount of endless things that you can continue to do here. And these are great, even these autoplay videos and welcoming someone in, but taking it further down the road of even utilizing it like you would with the call outs in your model home is a really great example of how to use some of these matter tags. One of the things, and you mentioned earlier, Brittany, was it gave you the opportunity to, like it said, with the fancy lasers, it was taking measurements. And one of the things that I think is really interesting is the measurement mode over here. So like literally clicking on the ruler and then adding this, and someone can take a quick measurement of how big a room is, right? So, and then I can hit escape, and that allows me to create a new line. So if I want to know how big a specific space is, Like, we're taking actual measurements of spaces in here real time, and people can understand what the room dimensions are. So it really gives a unique opportunity to go in here, and even if you're doing it as the sales professional, you've got an opportunity to show buyers, even in this taking it. Normally we have the 2D drawings with dimensions on them, people that can't make heads or tails out of. But if you marry that with a piece of content like this, now you have the ability to say, okay, if you're looking at this room, it says it's 17 by 20. Let me show you what that is in the family room, right? And so really it gives you the opportunity to showcase what it looks and feels like without actually being there, and then can even draw those dimensions out there for them to show them, like, hey, this is a lot of space, and you can feel what the space looks, you can see how the space feels.
Yeah, I'm from a shopper's perspective. I'm sure we've all walked into a room and been like, I wonder if my couch would fit in that space. Well, pull out the measuring tool, see if it fits.
Absolutely. Okay, so we have a couple of comments in here. Some of them are really long, and I can't bring them up on the screen, but I'm going to read them. So do you have any stats on engagement on 3D tours? At my old company, we used the stat that it was 4.5 minutes time spent on page. Has that changed? So I don't have any Matterport specific stats. I don't know if you do, Brittany, or not. But whenever there is engaging content like this, whether it's a Matterport tour, whether it's interactive floor plans, we start to see that engagement, that time on site go up 4.5, 5.5, 6+ minutes when people start interacting with this. And if you can put them in a place where they can go to one specific page, where they can see all your virtual tours all in one spot, your customers are going to deeply be engaging with all of those floor plans, and it wouldn't surprise me in the least if anything happened there.
What comes to mind when we think about that time spent on this? When we create a video, we think about the first 15 seconds. When a viewer watches a video, if you don't capture their attention the first 15 seconds, sometimes even less, then you've lost them. So when we talk about 4 to 6 minutes of attention on one of these, it's hot.
Yeah, absolutely. Derek Hansen, no, we didn't delete your comment. I'm getting to it right now. Currently using the Theta Z from is that Rico? I know that. Yeah, use it for home interior shots regarding inventory, some street view work. That is a really good. It's a good low cost option for sure. I've used the Theta Z before. The interesting thing about any of the consumer branded cameras specifically, even if it says it's like 4K, what it's doing, it's got a very small lens, and it's actually not capturing 4K on the individual image. It's 4K that's spread out over like a 360 diameter, versus where the Matterport camera itself, like you said, has was it 9 lenses? So each individual camera is capturing at a super high resolution, and then the software actually stitches it all together, and that's how you get these unbelievably high quality images that are full 360 as you scan around. Did I hit that right, Brittany?
I was going to say that is absolutely the perfect explanation of that. Yep, spot on.
One of the things that we want to talk about here, and I don't know how often you see this used, Brittany. I like to use it a lot, which is when you go into the back end of Matterport, we were talking about how you can export those GIFs, or even like a movie highlight reel where it'll stitch it all together and do an automated tour through. But because this is shooting at such a high res, I like that you can go in and essentially create your own custom angle photo. Like if you're really looking for something specifically, and export that photo out of there. Do you see people using that much?
We do. I mean, the quality is exactly why we chose the Matterport technology. Like you said, 9 lenses. There is nothing comparable, I would say, still in the quality of the image. So what you're speaking about, grabbing that specific shot, is great. I mean, it's a really high resolution photo. And, if it's a specific thing you're trying to target that maybe didn't get in the pack of model home shots, then it's perfect.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, Derek's thanking us for answering his question. He thought we deleted his comment. Sorry about that. Okay, so you were talking about ways that you can, from outside, ways that you can integrate video, different forms of video, because you guys do not only photography, you do drone video footage, you do all kinds of stuff, and you've got an example you want to talk through as well.
Exactly. So yeah, now you've invested in this initial Matterport. We've seen how extensive it can be within the tour. We now can export GIFs to grab our social media, viewer attention, and we can create even more extensive video. So I was going to use this one as an example. I believe I will.
I'm putting that in the stream. Here we go.
Perfect. Okay. So here we go. I'm going to fast forward a little bit for time's sake. But I love this example. Let's see here. Let me stop it right around because it really shows the quality. Oh, is that volume really high? Let's see.
I don't think they'll be able to hear it anyway. It's okay.
Oh, perfect. Okay. So, and I'm actually going to fast forward a little more. So here we exported a Matterport tour. This is a Matterport exported video you're seeing right now. And I chose this example because I think the windows are, they're large. You can see the quality in the view. And this is why we love Matterport. This isn't a professional, videography. It's just an exported video from Matterport. Then we compiled it with ending with some drone shots. So we took it, stitched it together. It took about 30 seconds and created a video.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. I mean, and that you've got, and that's the whole point of this, right? Is to talk about all the different ways that you can utilize just this one singular piece of content. So Kirsten's asking, does the photographer add the tags? That's a great question.
So that's something you would sort out with your particular photographer. We have clients who we create a portal for them. So if you're a home builder, most of our home builders have their own portal where after we shoot it, we put that home in their section and they can go right in, edit, adjust, and do everything needed. We also have some specific individual agents who maybe we work a little bit more one-on-one if they're not particularly comfortable with the technology or whatnot. But I would say that's based on how you set it up with your photographer.
Yeah, I know when I worked with you, you set it up to where we would go in there and be able to have the ability to do that ourselves.
Yes.
I personally would recommend that method simply because you can go in and update things on the fly. You can change stuff out as needed. It just gives you more flexibility to do what you need to do and not have to email. I didn't have to email Brittany and say, hey, can you add this or can you add that? And I'm certain you probably didn't want to be in the business of updating our content either.
Yeah, with the larger builders, it would be a lot of back and forth, especially where you have a certain picture in your mind and you want to work with it. I know a lot of people are hands-on like that, and that gives you that ability.
So Janice is asking, how do you export the full video? Where would that be found?
So that, so you would actually, what we do is actually pretty much capture the screen. You hit the play through screen capture, and then that's how you create the video there. There's also a long, within the GIFs, there's 3 different options. There is a longer option, but you don't get as much control over it.
Yeah.
So depending on the amount of control you want, there's a simple download within the video tab, or you can even fully control every action if you're a little bit more tech savvy there.
So when you do it, like the video example that you shared, are you, as the photographer, are you going in and actually doing a screen capture and screen record and physically guiding through that tour and then exporting that video from the screen capture?
Well, actually, I'm kind of glad we brought this up because one thing we didn't cover within that Matterport tour, I don't think, which might be where what's missing here is the playthrough highlight reel.
Yes.
So what we do is we set up the highlight reel to go in the order that we'd like. And then the highlight reel even has 2 options. It has a slideshow option where it's kind of a black screen transition, or that walkthrough that you just saw in that video. So we'll manually create the highlight reel and then screen capture off of that for the video.
Got it. Okay. Very cool.
Yeah. I mean, if your imagination can think of it with the Matterport, it's doable.
That's right. Because you're controlling all the angles because the camera's going in and it is capturing full 360, head to toe, all the way around, and you really get to control, you know, the pan angles and what everything you want it to capture. So that, I think, is, you know, that is one of the major benefits of utilizing this and using it all across. And so, like what you were saying before, you know, what we were talking about before is having the ability to create it with one house, right? And I love the example, like even if it's your furnished model home, and you put a link back out, you're like, hey, do you love this home? Like, put an internal website link to where if they're looking for something that's ready to move into, it takes them to your move-in ready homes, maybe to that specific floor plan that you have that are move-in ready. In which that comes back into a bigger conversation of why it's so important to have your website structured in a way that allows you to generate unique URLs for all your different filter options. So you can do things like this. And when someone's looking at the Oxford and they really like that as a furnished house as a whole, you can provide them a link that goes, oh, show me all your quick move-in ready Oxfords, because I really like this house. And so being able to do that, but you've got to make sure that your website architecture side is set up to be able to drive that content back.
Yeah, it is really neat. And even, you know, as far as content and data too, Matterport, once you have your portal set up, it does have stat tracking, you know, how many new users, how many views, return views, that sort of thing. So all that is there as well.
Yeah. And you do have the ability in here as well to create, to have a branded link and an unbranded link as well. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly. So MLS compatible, as well as a branded, you know, to show off.
Yeah. Well, and another thing that's really cool that loses a lot, people overlook it a lot. If you use any of the VR headsets, if you have VR headsets out there right now for people to utilize, this actually has the ability, because the file format itself is compatible with VR, with the app there in the bottom right. I'm going to bring this back up in the stream here so people can see what I'm talking about. In the bottom right corner, there is these little goggles. So if I click that, it then changes the screen setup to be set up to use the VR headsets. So if you're using this on your phone and then you tap that, or you're using the Matterport app and you tap that, it'll actually take it into a really funky view. So if I click on this, it's not going to work because I'm on a desktop. It's going to ask me, like, am I using Samsung or the Google Cardboard? And I, you know, Will Duderstadt and over at My Homes, they were just sending out to their customers the cardboard setup branded. And this is a really great way to utilize the cardboard setup, because the user, the buyer, or you, the salesperson, can take your cell phone and drop that into that cardboard box. And then you're going to get a fully immersive experience that they're be able to really feel that space. And so just another way that you can utilize this technology for other stuff. This is all about repurposing your content, and you're not spending $300, $400, $500 or whatever it costs to do a Matterport. And because it's obviously going to vary based on the size of the home, this is not a one and done thing. You should be utilizing this for a long period of time. So these are huge investments, or these are investments that can pay off for
expensive. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say the VR headsets back in the day when we used to get together for trade shows or home building shows. I know you want to get attention span at your booth versus, you know, people shopping at other ones. Anyone who pulled out the VR headsets would have a line waiting to, you know, kind of walk through the home right there from the table.
Right. Totally. All right. So we've got another question. Are all of these features available on the basic level, or do you have to add/purchase on top of the tour?
Most of these, I would say 90% of what we talked about is built into the tour. The only addition was obviously the drone video addition to an exported video would be an add-on, but all the matter tags, all the measurements that we showed, the dollhouse view, all of that is absolutely in your base package.
Yeah. And so what's cool is what you were talking about. I don't, because you fast forwarded for time purposes, but what you did is you took the Matterport tour, you created a video of the tour itself, then outside separately took a drone and shot drone video footage and then stitched the two together. So you're going from aerial view of the community, the city around you, whatever it is, and then you're literally like diving into the front door and then going complete and utter inside the house from 200 feet in the air all the way through the front door. And that's how you're able to pull that off.
Yeah, exactly. Giving you that full perspective, inside out, community.
Yeah, right. That's right. That's such a cool effect. And this is the stuff that we're talking about. We're talking about content, that word content that gets thrown around all the time. This is content. Like, this is engaging content that your customers are clamoring for. And if you have this kind of stuff right now in place, there's really good news. And if you're not utilizing these features, you can go right in there and start using this stuff right now. If you're not using this stuff, I beg you, start doing it, right? It's going to make your job as a marketing and sales organization better. All right, we've got one more question from Janice. What screen recording software do you use? What do you use?
What do I use? Screenium. I personally like Screenium. Yeah, it's nothing fancy. Y'all probably can get it and use it yourself. It's pretty straightforward.
How do you spell? I'm going to type it in. Say it again.
Screenium. Screenium.
Screenium.
Testing my spelling out loud.
Screenium. That's the one. All right. So
Screenium, yeah. And I was going to say, to build on your content point, I mean, most of these things, most builders probably have all this content. Even if you don't have the Matterport tour, you have the content of a community map that you can build into your Matterport tour. You have the content of, community photos that can be put into a Matterport tour. So all that content's there. So even if you just are getting the Matterport tour to finish that cycle, it's pretty seamless and easy to do.
Oh, without a doubt. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I've seen some, you got some of these master plan communities and where they're just beautiful amenities. And I've seen some amazing work where you're capturing that drone footage, diving into clubhouses and amenities, coming back outside, going back into a home. It's just incredible what you can create. And I promise you, your customers will reward you when you're providing this type of content.
Yeah.
All right, Britt, what have I missed? Is there anything else that you think everybody needs to know?
I think we covered a lot of it. We got to that highlight reel, which was good. Again, I really think the key is we have that ADD attention span when we're online, and not losing people by having it all in one spot, all in that tour. Like I said, not going to another web page, not getting distracted by that little ad in the lower left corner that, and now I'm not home shopping, I'm, furnishing shopping,
Right.
Is really key. Getting that attention span, that viewer usage, all it adds into that, especially for my number crunchers, marketing gurus. It's important. Yep.
I do not recommend that you attach the Matterport camera to your drone. No, that would be really neat, but what Brittany did there is they actually had a separate drone that shot regular footage, and then with the video export, they just stitched the video together, right? So you're using two different cameras. I would not recommend attaching your $5,000 Matterport camera to your drone. It would be fun to. I would love to see someone attempt it. That'd be
yeah.
I mean, it does take a special tripod to actually get the camera head to turn as well. So you might run into a little bit of a challenge there, but
right.
People do some crazy things with drones. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw something.
I know. And who knows? It may be out there, but you're using, in that example, you're using two different cameras completely. One Matterport for inside, and then your drone and HD camera for the other. Yeah,
exactly. A little bit of video work on the back end there.
Yeah, perfect. Awesome. All right. Well, that was jam-packed with amazing info on how to utilize content, how to reuse content, specifically in the Matterport era. We hear that, I just felt like we hear that word content and Matterport tours thrown around all the time. And even when we come across builders, it's like, hey, we talk about Matterport. Yes, we have it. But they're not utilizing this to its fullest extent by any stretch of the imagination. And I'm pointing to my screen over here. anybody can see what I'm pointing at because I'm pointing at the Matterport tour. But Derek, yes, we used DJI drones for that. Do you guys use DJI? Britt?
Yep, the Phantoms and the Mavic.
Yeah, okay.
And yeah, I was just gonna. Sorry, keep going.
No, go ahead.
Lost my thought. You're good.
Okay, that happens to me all the time. No, yeah. So DJI is a really good like they've got consumer and prosumer and real like commercial grade stuff. But even their consumer grade, and if you want to get fancy and go to like the prosumer stuff and spend $1,500 or something like that on a setup, like you're going to get some unbelievably great content. Now the key though is when you get into doing this, the trick is the licensing, right?
I was gonna say, you probably should warn them.
Yeah, you've got to make sure that you've got the proper authority and is it the FAA that's doing the testing and for licensing of that?
Yes, they're the governing body, and then each state also has their own specific rules. So you'll want to work with the FAA and then double check your state licensure requirements. Because if you're doing it for commercial use, you are required to have a license.
And what you just did and showed is considered commercial use.
Yes, absolutely. You sell that home. If it has anything to do with the selling the home in the end, then it's considered, it falls into that.
Now, if you're using it as a developer and you're like flying over your property to scope out, something, 5 acres away or whatever, that's not commercial usage because you're in a big open area and you're not trying to sell something from it. In my opinion, check with your attorney. I'm going to stop giving. I'm not an attorney. I didn't sleep at a Holiday Inn last night. I'm not giving legal advice. But anyway, so yeah, that's really good stuff. And I know we've had tons of people chiming in over here and watching the video. And so this was really super helpful. Really appreciate you coming on the episode and sharing your time and expertise with everyone here. And you guys need to check out what's your website? It's wickedawesome3d.com. Wickedawesome3d.com. The number 3 and the letter D.
It's got plenty of samples to play with and to enjoy and to check out. So, and I would also say that even for the people who are very familiar with Matterport, your clients are still going to be wowed by it at times. We're in the industry all the time, but I'm amazed every time I show it to someone who hasn't seen it. They're like, this is absolutely amazing. I feel like I'm in the home. You'll hear that each time.
I know, absolutely. Oh, and I do want to mention because obviously we work with builders or chumps viewing this everywhere. You work what are the areas that you guys work?
So we actually have 2 office locations, one up in the Northeast, New England area, Massachusetts, and we have one down here in Raleigh, North Carolina. So I'm physically out of the Raleigh, North Carolina office. Okay.
And you will cover that, the North Carolina geographic area, the Raleigh Triangle area, and then your other offices, Northeast Massachusetts area, right? New England.
Exactly. We have a couple specialists up there. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Well, guys, check out Brittany's website, wickedawesome3d.com. It's wicked awesome. So make sure you check it out. And if you are in the area where Brittany and her team operates, I can assure you, you will not get a better professional than Brittany and her team. They do amazing work from firsthand experience. So thank you very much. I greatly appreciate you coming on and sharing your knowledge. Donna, yes, Brittany had great information to share. So thank you.
Glad to help. Feel free to reach out anytime, anyone.
Awesome. All right, guys. You guys have a great rest of your week and be safe. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.